The American Dream Mall in New Jersey is a project that dates back nearly 30 years. A timeline full of ownership changes, construction halts, and reboots, an economic crash, and finally, in 2019, it was ready to open. Well, I should say, it opened. I wouldn't actually say it was ready. By this time, Amazon and other retailers were making malls less relevant, a concern that was even posed to New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy on its opening day. And then to pile on top of its problems, you had the pandemic that hit less than 6 months after its opening. I went to its opening day on October 25th, 2019 to check out Nickelodeon Universe, and though I appreciate the fact that they met their goal, the park was nowhere near ready for prime time. They were only able to open Slime Streak and Shellraiser. Shredder and Timmy's Half-Pipe Havoc were testing all day, but they never opened, leading me to believe that they didn't have enough test cycles to be able to open it, and Sandy's Blasting Bronco wasn't even close to being open. This sucked, but it was their opening day. They needed to work the kinks out. I came back almost 2 years later, thinking I can ride the other coasters that I missed out on the first time. They've all been open for a long time at this point, and people seem to have had good luck getting on them. So I go there and I see the sign. Closed. 3 of their 5 coasters. And most would agree they're 3 best ones. Shellraiser, an amazing Gerstlauer Eurofighter in my top 25. Sandy's Blasting Bronco, an Intamin launch coaster that goes forward and backward. And then Shredder, a Gerstlauer spinning coaster with a long ride time. On top of that, 2 of their best throw rides were closed. The SNS Drop Tower Skyline Scream, and the inverting airplane ride, Aang's Air Gliders. I see this sign and I hope it's wrong. I've come up to parks before where it says the rides are closed, but they're not. Usually because the sign's out of date. This was the case when I went to Wild Waves in 2019 and it looked like 80% of the park was closed. And even the next day at Maury's Piers, the scroll in the ticket booth said that Great Nor'easter and Doo-Wopper were both closed, and they were both absolutely open. It happens, but this was not the case at American Dream. Just a note, I'm using a lot of footage from 2019 because I didn't take that much this time around. The park opened at 12 and I was gone by 12:09, so there wasn't a lot of time for footage. And in my defense, there wasn't really anything to take footage of. Normally, I can go up to a ticket booth, see this list of closed rides, and turn right back around and get out of there. I would have wasted the time going to the park, but at least I could have saved the $75 admission fee. Yes, this park costs $75 a person to get into. There are no options to buy ride tickets, like at the Nickelodeon Universe in Minnesota. I was able to buy a package of ride tickets and get on all the coasters for 2 people, and I paid about $57 total. That $75 per person fee does get you unlimited rides once you're in, but this price tag is pretty absurd. It's not at the Disney or Universal level, but it's on par with Dollywood and Silver Dollar City, and those are beautiful, well-themed immersive parks with amazing and expensive thrill rides. Nickelodeon Universe at the American Dream is a giant sterile box and it has a few good rides. If it wasn't for my YouTube channel and trying to get as many experiences as possible, I wouldn't bother spending that much money here. Maybe if they offered a ticket package, instead of making people fork over those inflated prices just to get in, they'd get a few more people through the gates. The Mall of America figured this out. They're also run by the 555 group. It gives me hope that maybe this will be the case for American Dream also. If they had ride tickets, I could have bought enough to ride Timmy's Half-Pipe Havoc and Slime Streak and gotten out of there, but I prepaid for the tickets. On their website, you have to select a date and a time to arrive. Since I don't live anywhere near this park, I didn't want them to sell out of tickets, and I figured this is all indoors. There's no way weather can screw up my plans. I prepaid. That was stupid. When the park opened, we were maybe one of 10 people in the park, so there wasn't even enough people there to ride the rides for me to record. But anyway, we walk up to the ticket booths to redeem our prepaid tickets and get a wristband. And before I even said anything, the employee said that most of our thrill rides are closed today, and gave us 2 coupons to get 50% off tickets, but you have to redeem them before September 3rd. So they were perfectly comfortable taking my $75 up front. And basically, if I wanted to come back when more of the rides were open, I'd have to give them even more money. At this point, I was fuming. Why were all these rides closed? According to the signs, it was maintenance. I get that this was a weekday, but it's a weekday in July, supposedly the peak tourism season, serving everyone coming through the New York City area. And you have 5 thrill rides, arguably your best 5 rides, all closed at once. Fellow coaster YouTuber Coaster Dash went to the park a couple weeks ago on a Tuesday, and he said everything was open. As a year-round park, they're going to need to service their rides once in a while. It happens with every park. Knott's Berry Farm and Busch Gardens Tampa are very transparent with their ride closure schedule, and they try to only take rides down on off-season weekdays, and they'll only have 1, maybe 2 major rides down at once. Who in their right mind would think that it's acceptable to shut all these rides down at once in the middle of the summer, and then still charge full price to get in, and only offer a 50% off coupon that expires in a month and a half as the remedy? That leads me to think that maybe there's more to the story. Maybe the situation was a little more outside the park's control. I have 2 possible conclusions for what could be going on here. One of those is that there's something beyond just basic maintenance. I don't think it's likely that all 5 of these rides had major malfunctions at the same time. but it's possible. That may not reflect well on their overall maintenance, but it would at least save face for the park's management. The other conclusion is that this has nothing to do with maintenance. It has to do with staffing. There are labor shortages all over the country, and there's help wanted signs everywhere you look, advertising wages much higher than you normally see for those types of jobs. Maybe the park only had so many employees to go around, and these coasters just take too many to operate, compared to the smaller flat rides that can get away with just one person. I know the park's public reason for the closure was maintenance, but I don't know if they'd want to publicly admit that it's a staffing problem. I know that at least Maury's Piers had a sign that said that some of the rides could be closed because of staffing, so I don't know what they're thinking. If staffing was the case though, why didn't this seem to be a problem at all when Coaster Dash was there on a Tuesday 2 weeks earlier? I don't know, I'm just speculating. It's hard to believe that any competent park operator would shut down all their thrill rides at once. And some of you may ask why I didn't check the website for closures beforehand. And I did notice the closures at the time I bought the tickets. And I believe the only thing on there at the time was Legends of the Hidden Temple. I'm not the only one that had this issue with the park. When I posted this on Instagram, others said they arrived at the park with the same situation. And others said it was even worse, with only one of their coasters open. So that's all I have for this rant. I know people like to throw around the term entitled enthusiast, but I don't think it applies here. Nickelodeon Universe has to do better for the price they charge to get in. It's barely worth it when everything's open, let alone when basically all you can ride is the kids' rides. If you have an experience at this park, let me know in the comments below. I would love to know if the people who have gotten here over the last 2 years have had a generally positive or negative experience, and how often the experience that I had happens to other people. Before you go, don't forget to check out my links below for my Discord server, where you can chat with other fans of the channel, as well as my second channel, where I post copyright-free off-ride footage. There are plenty of other videos coming from this trip, just about all of them much more positive than this. So stay tuned for those, and I'll see you all next time.